Welcome to Olympian Cares, giving you the best in water testing and analysis. Today we're looking at the New York Post, where Department of Health officials are evasive about lead-tainted fountains in schools. So what's going on with this? As we know, this can be a huge problem because you can't taste lead. You can't smell it. So what's going on with this? More than a year after tests found that 83% of 1,544 city school buildings had faucets with high levels of lead in their water. And that's a huge problem because children are drinking this, and any amount of lead is dangerous. There really isn't any amount of lead in a water that's not harmful. Now, officials won't say what's been done besides turning off spoiled spigots, which isn't enough. What has been done to actually help with the water supply? Tests in late 2016 found water tainted with more than 15 parts per billion of lead. The action level under a new state law flowing from 33,000 New York City public school faucets and drinking fountains. In form letters to families, the City Department of Education provided a cookie-cutter response protocol, which it said removes from service any fixture used for cooking or drinking or replacing equipment and retesting. But is that really truly enough to keep children safe? But as students returned to school last week, the Department of Education refused to specify what equipment was replaced or give the oral retesting results. And that's quite concerning. That's why you always want professional testing and analysis in schools to make sure that the students are safe, because as we know, lead can cause a lot of problems, organ failure, death, and behavioral problems, as well as causing neurological issues and temporary hurting or permanently causing problems with children's brain development. So water in schools is absolutely safe, said spokeswater Miranda Barbett. We will share a citywide update on remediation in the coming weeks. The lack of transparency raises alarms after last month's revelation by New York City Housing Authority that 1,160 children living in public school housing have tested positive for lead poisoning since 2012. And that's a huge amount. It should be zero. Hundreds more than the city had previously acknowledged. And the disclosure followed revelations that the NYCHA had failed to conduct required lead inspections since 2013. So, taking a look at that, for years and years and years, they didn't conduct any lead inspections. And that makes you quite nervous when you look at that data, when you see that the city officials should have been more proactive in handling this. And they also lied to the federal government about it. And virtually every city school had some lead in its plumbing, according to records compiled by the state. There is no known plan to replace the pipes, that's where the lead comes from. It's not just saying we're going to flush it out, or we're going to replace a fixture, or we're going to replace a water fountain. That doesn't really solve the problem. You need to solve the problem at the core. And the core is lead is coming through the pipes. The Department of Education has promised to shut off every water outlet where tests found with lead-laden water. In addition, custodians are instructed to flush the water systems on Monday mornings before the school starts to eliminate stagnant water sitting in pipes on the weekend or over longer breaks. That's not really a solution. Flushing, changing fixtures, you still see that children got lead poisoning. 1,160 of them. And that's way too many. That shouldn't happen, and definitely shouldn't happen in schools. That's why it's always important to get your water periodically tested and analyzed for lead, especially in schools where it can harm children.